So, the UK government just dropped a report taking a really close look at a program for older job seekers. And, well, the results are in. We're going to get under the hood of this so-called midlife MOT and see what's running smoothly and what's, kind of stalling out. Just imagine this for a second. What if when you hit a certain age, the government didn't just offer you a health checkup, but a checkup for your career, your finances, your whole future? That's pretty much the big idea behind this program for people over 50. And yep, it's literally called the Midlife MOT. It's basically a single 90-minute group session run out of job centers aimed at claimants who are 50 plus. Think of it like a tune-up for the second half of your working life. But the big question is, after popping the hood and running the diagnostics, is this thing actually working? A new research paper did just that, and we're about to dive into what they found. Okay, first things first. Let's get really clear on what this midlife MOT actually is. Like, what happens when you show up for your appointment? So the whole point is to help people plan for what's next. And it's all built on three main pillars. You've got work, that's all about your skills and maybe training. Then there's health, which focuses on your well-being. And finance, which gets into the nitty-gritty of pensions and retirement. It's supposed to be this comprehensive checkup, all packed into one session. And listen, this isn't some small little pilot program. The government is putting its money where its mouth is, with funding for up to 40,000 places this year alone. That's a serious investment, which makes the question, does it work, even more important. All right, so let's start with the good news. What's actually working well? The report found some real bright spots where this program is firing on all cylinders. And this, right here, shows you the real human impact. For some people, this session was a total game changer. This quote from one of the claimants just says it all. It wasn't just about getting information. It was about a huge mental shift from I'll never get a job to, hey, maybe I could do something. That's powerful stuff. So what specifically did people love? Well, the report broke it down. First up, the pensions advice was a huge hit. For a lot of people, this was the first time they'd ever really sat down and thought about their retirement finances. Second, the facilitators got a lot of praise for being so compassionate, sharing their own stories and connecting on a real human level. It wasn't some dry, boring lecture. They also pointed people toward real opportunities, like work academy programs, and brought in actual experts like disability and employer advisors, which people found incredibly helpful. But of course, it wasn't all perfect. The report also flagged some pretty major roadblocks, parts of the engine that are kind of sputtering and holding the whole thing back. And this slide really nails the gap between the promise and the reality. Just take a look. The program was supposed to have consistent follow-up, but for many, it just didn't happen. It was supposed to provide digital resources, but a lot of folks didn't have the skills or never even got the links. And it was meant to be voluntary, but some people felt pressured into going, which, as you can imagine, really changes how you feel about it. And even some of the content just missed the mark. This quote from a work coach is so telling. When the health advice was too basic, it felt like they were being talked down to, It came across as patronizing. Instead of making people feel empowered, it was doing the opposite. And then you get to the practical, on-the-ground problems. The report mentions sessions being held in noisy, open-plan offices or tiny, cramped rooms. People felt totally overwhelmed by this 90-minute info dump with no break. And a huge frustration? No physical handouts to take away, which is a real problem if you're not great with computers. On top of that, the content wasn't always tailored for people with learning disabilities or limited English, so they were just left behind. So with all these issues, what's the fix? Well, the report doesn't just list the problems, it actually offers a pretty clear set of recommendations. A tune-up, if you will. So how do we make this program better? The report's tune-up plan is really direct. Step 1, get better facilities. Give people a comfortable, private space. Step 2, make sure the expert support is there every time. Step 3, improve accessibility. That means physical handouts and content that works for everyone. And finally, step 4, and this one is key, mandate the follow-up. Make it a structured, consistent process, because a one-off session just isn't enough. So why do we even care about getting this right? Let's just zoom out for a second and look at the bigger picture here. What I find interesting is that the report is really honest about its own limitations. This quote basically says, look, it's almost impossible to prove that this one 90-minute session is the single thing that changed someone's life. And that's fair, right? People are complicated. But that doesn't mean it's not a valuable first step. Here's the bottom line.
What the MOT does brilliantly is it starts a conversation, sometimes for the very first time, about pensions, work, and health down the road. It plants a seed, but we all know a seed needs water to grow. And the report makes it crystal clear that without that consistent support, without that follow-up, even the best idea in the world can just get lost.
So that leaves us with a really crucial question. The midlife MOT is a fantastic idea, a great conversation starter, but a checkup isn't the same as a roadmap. The real challenge, the thing we need to figure out, is how do we turn this helpful session into a genuine step-by-step guide that actually helps people navigate their way to a more secure retirement. Now that's the tune-up we really need.